Welcome to the research tutorial for the school year ending in 2020. I'm Miss Snow and I'm here to show you in our Media Lab how you can sit at any computer and very easily find the Media Center website in the dock, and you can go ahead and conduct your research smoothly and efficiently. You'll find that when you land on the homepage, this is where you can search for books, right? So make sure that you start with the library to see what we have here on your topic first. Okay, so that's looking up fiction. And I'm going to show you a couple of other tools to manage your research. So let's get started. Okay, by clicking on Research 2020, you'll see that I've gone ahead and added the buttons for our favorite resources here at the top. And that is so that now some of you have heard this presentation over the years, you can just go ahead and get started. But let's go ahead and look at what it looks like this year, because Gale went ahead and changed their interface. So it's all the same product, it just looks a little bit different. Before, I had GVRL right here. So you'll see that the side populates with different orders of widgets, but it's all the same thing. So if I click on ebooks and I really want to get to history and dispute, well, I'm first going to enter my password, Ravens, and I can get to history and dispute by typing that in up here in the search box. You'll notice I have a new Cameron collection on mental health. I have new biographies. I have a lot of additional titles that we've added, especially for those IBIAs. So let's go ahead and type in history and dispute. And if you recall, or if you're new to this research process, history and dispute is a collection of works that really do a good job of presenting different positions on a certain topic. So if you are looking for something about the American tanks being inferior to Soviet and German counterparts, you'll see here that you get the first viewpoint of yes, and when you scroll down you'll see that you get the viewpoint of no. So this is a really great way to look at two sides of an issue. You can, of course, cite your source, but in order to do that, when you get to this page, you will want to make sure that you've signed in with Google. So I'm going to take a second to add my Sequoia account. Okay, so it's going to ask you to authorize that single sign-on just as you would any other place. Okay, and now it lets me relate everything back to my Google Drive. So if I select cite now, let's see, let me go ahead and just select an example. I want to send this article to my Google Drive. I want to download it. I want to cite it. So here's my citation. I can click export to Google Drive. And then by the time I get to Google Drive, you'll see that when I type in the most recent article right here is my citation. Okay. So I like to remind you at this point too that that is not complete, right? You will need to compile your list of works cited in an alphabetical form. You'll also want to double space and use a hanging indent. So let's just very quickly do that. So here I have this citation. I'm going to open it with Google Docs. I'm going to select all using Command A or Control A. I'm going to hit Format, where I can get my spacing, and I'm going to select double. Okay. I am also going to change my text. I like Times New Roman. I think your teachers like it too. And it went ahead and already did my hanging indent from my last document. So if it came out like this, you would simply move the margin marker over to 0.5, and then that top is the first line indent, and you can slide that back. So that's called a hanging indent, and that is proper format for your citations. Overall, you would alphabetize the entire list by last name, and then they would be here in a really great format for your teacher. Now, just including that is not enough. You might need to use footnotes throughout your paper, and we will do that in a separate tutorial. Okay, so let's go back to research. When I get to the resources page, I have Gale, I have JSTOR. JSTOR is a collection of academic journals, so you'll see that access is provided by Sequoia High School, and in the same format, you are going to want to look up a topic. So let's just say that we're looking up monster archetype. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type that in. I have a lot to read, and this is the part that I can't model. You have to actually carve out time to read this, but you'll also see that I have some graphics. So if you want to include a graphic, you can also include something like that. You can download it, you can explore, and then you'll also want to learn how to do the citation as well, okay? So if I click right here, cite this item, the difference between this and Gale is that you have to actually copy this citation over, and you'll see that all of these citations essentially include the same thing. It's who wrote it or who made the item, what's it called, where it was published, when it was published, and then how you accessed it. And then it also includes which parts you used, if applicable. So a couple of other tools I want to show you for searching without using our tools are something I want to show you about searching on your own without using the tools I provide is how to use Chrome extensions. Okay, so if I just type in monster archetype here in Google, I'm really making my life a lot more difficult because I have all of this stuff to go through and I have to figure out who wrote this. Are these student samples? Is this a student project? It's a Prezi. Did somebody do that for another assignment? I don't know if these are vetted resources. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of Chrome extensions to my browser, and that will help me manage my research. So the first one I'm going to add is the Google Scholar extension. Okay, so it asks me to add the extension, and you'll see it added this tiny little cap and gown, like a little scholar up here. I'm not going to sync right now because I really want you to be able to see what I'm adding. Okay, now I'm also, while I'm here, going to add the JSTOR Chrome extension. Okay, and this, it's checking for it, so we're going to give it a second. I'm going to add extension. You'll see now there's a little J that comes up there. And then since I'm here, let's do one more. Let's go ahead and add an EasyBib toolbar. Okay, so I'm adding that to Chrome, add extension, and I'm going to show you how to use all three of these. Okay, so let's go back to Google. Let's go back, let's just start as one might and type in monster archetype. Now, before I even press enter, I'm going to go ahead and just press enter for me. I'm going to hit the Google Scholar button, and you'll see that it shows me a whole bunch of articles that have been recognized by Google Scholar. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here. It takes me to the academic journal, which means that this has been acknowledged by other universities or other educators as a reliable source. Okay, so you might not be able to get the PDF, but we're going to try and see what happens. And then we might try looking in other ways. Sometimes you might find that they ask you to purchase content, and you should never do that. You should come see me in the Media Center, and I can usually access it in a couple of other ways. So let's try another example. Let's go back here, and let's go back to that first example, acknowledging the female archetype. And that took me to another abstract as well, okay? So remember, this is the abstract, which is just the summary of the article. It's not the entire article, so you'll have to look down to see if you can get the entire article. But you'll also see that the citation is here. So you have the title, you have the author, and you can go ahead and then search that in other places. If you're finding that you keep getting stuck, then you can click Search JSTOR, and as we're finding, this gives me a little bit of problems. Let me go back to here. I'm going to click JSTOR. Okay, so you'll see that I clicked it. It gave me an off-topic review.